Wonderful time. Look at this. Hello. There is absolutely no question that I am ill prepared. I have come with mask, I've got my headband, and look how jealous are all you people whose buff has not arrived. Your snoot has not arrived, but look, mine has arrived and it is official. I am Team South and I am on my own in my house because the three ladies that I share my life with are Team Edinburgh. Davy has got them all signed up. Hello, good evening and welcome. We are back for the third installment and they've let me come back. I am over the moon because have we got a panel for you. Last week was magnificent. I didn't get to sleep until about the Sunday afternoon because I was on such a high. It was joy. And now we're just going to knock it out of the park again. This is going to be a belter. Now, a little change in the lineup because Carl Hogg isn't allowed out to play. I think Jill has told him that he's got some jobs to do, shelves to put up, whatever. Hoggy is in bother. So Hoggy cannot be here, but have we got a substitute for you? The man has answered the call and he's one of my favourites, so it's even better. You've seen the poster, so you know who's coming, and we will save the intros for when they arrive. But before we bring MD in, I've got an idea because we still want to sign people up. Last week we had sign up Friday, bring a friend, all that kind of stuff. I've got an idea. Now, I did this today for my mate Charles, who lives in America. I have just, will he be watching? No, he might be. He's watching. I've sent him a buff. I've sent him a Team Exiles buff. Now, I don't know if Charles is going to rack up any miles, but I thought that's a nice present. Let's buy people Doddie snoods. Buy them the snood. So here's what I reckon you should do. Yes, you've signed up and you're doing the miles. How can we raise that £1 million? Buy somebody a present. Sign up, buy another snood and send it as a gift. Imagine getting this through the post. That would be the good stuff. So come on. It's worth it, I promise you. Because how cool is it when you see people wearing them, walking the dog, out on their bike, out for a run, up the hill, seeing all those amazing pictures, and you'd make somebody happy, somebody that you maybe can't see at the moment, sending them something. How often do you get something nice through the post that you didn't order for Amazon yourself? Getting a present. I think that is the perfect present. So go for it. Now, I'm looking in the comments here. If that's Caroline Watson from Orkney, hello. If it's not Caroline Watson from Orkney, still hello. But the Caroline Watson from Orkney has been doing heaps. She was up at the crack of dawn the other day, running up and down the farm track, racking up the miles for Team North and Mids, who are flying. Now, Team North and Mids were not going to be invited tonight. We weren't going to invite the North and Mids, and we weren't telling them that this was on because we thought all the other teams needed a rallying call because it's hump week. It's Doddie hump week. So we wanted to motivate everybody. We wanted to see everybody and say, well done, because you've got to the top, but there's still time to go, and we need that motivation. And the North and Mids didn't need any motivation. But because Hoggy's bailed out, we've got a replacement from North and Midlands. Now, this guy is an absolute gem. He is a rock star. He's proper Scottish rock star royalty. He's also warm and cuddly to make you feel good on a Sunday night. He is that guy, and you think, I bet he's a good guy. I bet he's a great guy. I'd love a chat with that guy. Well, tonight, I get to do it, and you get to listen to it. Now, I reckon we could all sing to bring him in, because I think you know who it is. He's a massive supporter of Doddie. He's a good guy. He's a presenter. He moans at me a wee bit because he thinks I'm too noisy. But we know he's got a big heart. So on 3, we're going to bring in our special guest, our replacement for Carl Hogg, the one and the only Mr. Dougie Vipond. There's a man I meet, walks up a street. He's a worker for the council. It's been 20 years. Come on, Dougie, where are you? And he takes no lip off nobody and litter out the gutter, puts it in a bag, and never thinks. Right, Dougie Vipond, how good is it to see you?
It's great to see you as well, Bruce. And I've been watching every week, and you've been doing an amazing job with these things. In the first week, really, because I know how difficult these things can be, and you've been absolutely sensational, holding it all together, keeping it chirpy, keeping it cheery, and keeping that money rolling in. So it is great to see you, and great to speak to you, because normally I can't speak to you because you're playing the music far too loud.
See, there he goes. He gives me all that credit, and then boom, he just hits me with it. I was about to just mic drop and leave.
Couldn't help it. No, it's great. I genuinely think you've been doing an amazing job. I watched last week. I was on the old Twitter giving folk a hard time.
You really were. You really were. That's what it was funny on the WhatsApp chat today. It was, at least they'll be on and they can't give us a hard time in the comments. Although I bet when you disappear, we will be. And look at that supping back on the product, and over the left shoulder there's the Genius t-shirt. How does that work? Oh, hang on, that's a mirror. Oh, be careful who walks in the background. There's been some shockers.
Don't worry about that. But I tell you, Jason from Team Genius, who are Genius, and they have been great supporters of Doddie, and he actually got in touch with me today because my local wine shop, booze shop, sells Genius, but they sold out. So Jason got in touch with me and said, "I'll bring some round." So he brought some round. Cold one. He brought a few cold ones as well, and the Genius t-shirt, and I thought that's worthy of just putting it on the screen there.
Hey, I tell you what kind of social climber are you? No, the offie, but the wine shop.
Oh, yeah, I'm posh. Well, I wasn't posh when I was growing up, but I've got delusions of grandeur.
Not at all. Are you kidding me? You're a rock star now. But how are the band? Are they involved in this? Do they go for a walk, or are they just living the rock star lifestyle?
Well, it's interesting because we did a sort of fundraiser for Doddie a while ago down in Kelso?
Kelso, yeah.
Came down and played. Just played on the piano, and it was a fantastic moment. And Ricky's not from a rugby background at all, and that sort of introduced him to Doddie and the whole campaign and all that. And he was just blown over by the rugby community and the love and the support and the joy that all goes along with it. So I brought him down to that. And actually, at the start of this, he said to me, "I see you're doing Doddie," and I said, "Yeah." I said, "You want to do it, and you want to get involved?" Because he's from Dundee, so you'll have to be North and Mids. He can't be even though he lives in Glasgow. And I said to him, well, he may join up with us because he is a runner. So he may get involved. It's Sign a Friend Friday, even though you're saying it isn't tomorrow. It still is. It's another Friday. Sign a Friend Friday is still really important. And sign a friend, I say sign a friend and then buy someone else.
Oh, hey, yes. There's a salesman. There's a salesman. So what have you been doing to rack up your miles? How does Dougie Vipond? Because it must be tough being Dougie Vipond. You mustn't be able to leave your house without being mobbed by the paparazzi.
Well, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. I get out of my house, absolutely no bother, and no back when I live. In fact, I go out. I'm now wearing this to get recognised. This is actually more important for recognition than anything I've ever done in my past. Wearing my snood. Especially between North and Mid, which I keep got to see, we're doing incredibly well. I don't like to blow our own trumpets, but my goodness, we're doing very well.
Well, let's blow the trumpet. Look at this, right? 7,705 members.
Yeah.
Almost 190 grand raised. Wow. 361,575 miles. A Jedi night, an ice queen. Like it's just off the hook. What is it that's grabbed the North and Midlands? Is it you? Is it John Barclay?
It's certainly not John Barclay. I mean, John Barclay, goodness me, and John's a great guy and all that, but he's a leader. He's a leader who doesn't necessarily lead by example. He stands there and expects a lot of other people to do the work. Thankfully, within North and Mids, there are lots of people who are prepared to do the work. And Rob Wainwright, of course, he was one of the guys behind this whole Doddie thing. he has been absolutely brilliant. I mean, amazing at stealing people from all the other teams right at the start. He was genius, and it was brilliant. He was getting lots of people involved and asking folk to introduce them, and he immediately was going in there and signing up for North and Mids. It is extraordinary because there's just been an amazing kind of swell of support for this whole thing, and it's happening at the right time of the year because this is a rubbish time of year generally.
Yeah.
Lockdowns happened again, so. I've been out with Doddie many times, as with you, Bruce, and he's made you feel pretty unhealthy the next morning because it's absolutely appalling because of the pina coladas you might throw down of an evening. But now, because of Doddie, when I put on a stone during lockdown, and I'm now, as a result of Doddie, going out and training for this great cause, and I think weirdly, lockdown might have helped the cause. People are
absolutely, yeah.
People on social media, and amazing. You've got Sean Fitzpatrick, you've got Gary Lineker, and all these people coming in from all over the world. Lillian Kelly, the Queen of Scotland, Lillian Kelly's on there, putting things on the telly. I mean, that was genius. We're getting people involved for such a fantastic cause, but not only that, for such a fantastic man. And Doddie. Before he got ill, everywhere you went with Doddie, people loved him because he makes people feel great.
Absolutely.
He's one of these amazing people. And so now that he's kind of struggling a little bit, then all these people that he's made feel good in the past, they're coming in and they're trying to make it better for everybody, and that's what he wants to do. So that's why I think everyone's getting involved. And for all that, I'm saying that Team North and Mids are going to win, and we are going to win by a country. It's good that people like Rory Loughlin, who's Catholic, and it's good that they're involved and raising the fortune for what is essentially a fantastic cause and a fantastic thing to be doing.
I think the other bit to it, and you mentioned how Ricky loved what he came to in Kelso and the rugby community. It's given us a sense of community when there isn't really one we can have, although a lot of it is things like this or Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or whatever. But feeling like, those 7,700 people are spread from Orkney to, all over the place, because you lot have taken people from all over. But it's amazing how we've got kit. Like, we've not just got a team, but we've got kit. And like you said, people are wearing these with great pride and demanding to Rob Wainwright's got about 4,000 emails saying, where's my snood? Where's my snood? People want to be involved, don't they?
Yeah, Nick Nairn, who lives across the road from me, who's North and Mids Director of Nutrition, he's not got his snood because I registered before the new year to be part of it, and he registered after. And obviously, the success of Doddie, it's been huge, and the demand for the snoods and all that's been, we didn't expect that. So I don't know if he's got his yet. So he's been moaning and groaning about it constantly. But the great thing is, they'll get their snooze towards the end of it all, and it'll be clean and even though I rinse it now and again, it's a bit honking.
We've got a message in for Guy Frater now. Dougie, you'll not know Guy Frater, but really you should. This is some man. Mm-hmm. This man is the heartbeat of the town of Galashiels. He's a complete pain in the tonsils. But I've known Guy for a very long time, so he's saying that. We've made up after shouting down the mic while you're trying to speak on the telly. He needs some signed merchandise off him. Frater never misses a trick. Never misses a trick. He is some boy. He'll be dining out on this story for a while. Some boy. Cheers, Gus. Cheers, fella. So, Dougie, you've known Doddie for a long time.
Yeah.
And you've obviously been with him over a period of time. What's your sort of... What's your Doddie nugget?
My Doddie nugget. I must tell you a story about Doddie, because I met Doddie by, on the telly, because I was presenting rugby for the BBC, and Doddie came along all the time, and of course he was always resplendent in his tartan suits and all fantastic. So we're doing a Scotland game, and he came into the studio. In fact, Chris Patterson was the guest. It was Chris Patterson's first ever game as a pundit, and Chris is going to be amazing as a pundit. Doddie less so. Doddie would basically go at half. I said, "What are you talking about half time, Doddie?" And he would say, "Well, you've got a back as the other guest. Ask whatever he says. I'll disagree with it on a point of time." So he's always great. But in this particular one, he turns up with the iron blue tartan suit on, right? The full, that horrendous looking thing. Nice. In my ear, I can hear the producer saying, Doddie's going, I'm going to mention Iron Brew on the telly. And I said, Doddie, it's the BBC. You absolutely cannot mention Iron Brew on the telly. And in my ear, I'm getting absolutely guys screaming, saying, don't tell no way to say Iron Brew. Don't say Iron Brew. I said, Doddie, seriously, that's the BBC. We're getting serious shit. Do not say Iron Brew in the box because we will get in the bother. It's obviously an Iron Brew term. Don't say it. It's fine. Absolutely, no problem. So we came on here. Hello and a very warm welcome. I'm Murray Fuel. This Doddie here is splendid in this new tartan suit. Doddie, great to see you. Hi, Dougie, great to see you. Now you let me use Iron Brew tartan suit. And straight away in my ear. The producer goes, no. He's sitting there with a wee grin in his face. There are many, but that was a particular one. You just go.
He loves a stitch up, doesn't he? He absolutely loves a stitch up, but so full of fun, and that's what makes him love him to bits. Now, you, Dougie, were tasked, I hope,
yeah, I was
with a winner for some genius. Now we've had 2 weeks of this, and I think it's up the social media ante a wee bit with what's going on. So, who have you chosen to be deserving of your 12-pack of genius?
Well, we know that so many people have been doing incredible things, been working really, really hard, raising lots and lots of money. And sometimes we have to kind of take things slightly left field. It's all about kind of, how much you can do on social media to support and promote. And I want to, this week, we're going to give the prize to Steve and Amy Romans. And now Steve and Amy just had a wee baby boy. I think yesterday, was it yesterday? It was this week anyway.
It's freshly baked, certainly.
And he was dressed in a team North and Mid snood. He looked absolutely fantastic. He doesn't have a name yet, and already he's the portrait of Dougie. So on the social media, it's been going absolutely crazy. The world is seeing the North and Mid snood, and it's Steve and Amy Romans who we're going to send the thing to. This is their third child. And it's their third boy as well. And speaking as a father of 3 boys, you have the sympathies. But amazingly, we don't have a name yet. But Dougie Romans would sound sensational.
No, well, here we go, right? Steve and Amy. Well, Amy, because let's face it, Steve, you're not going to get the choice here. I think we need, in the comments, we need hashtag Bruce, hashtag Dougie, or hashtag Doddie. Doddie Romans, Dougie Romans, or Bruce Romans. That's your choices. And
I think later on, one of your guests might want hashtag Ali in there as well.
No, we're not having any of that nonsense. None of this Rangers nonsense. Now, you like me, Dougie, support a wee football team. That you support the mighty buddies, St Mirren. Is there any way we can get them involved? Is the squad able to run a few laps?
I never thought about that. I have to be careful with their kind of their protocols at the moment. But no, the buddies. Actually, maybe get in touch. Get in touch with Tony Fitzpatrick and see if they'll get involved. Because Tony, obviously, is such a nice guy and amazing. Maybe we'll sign the St Mirren squad for Sign a Friend Friday. Who knows?
Imagine them doing laps of Dubai. It would rack up heaps. It would be brilliant. Certainly St Mirren have been away to Dubai for some sunshine. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Yes. Dougie, what are you looking for? We're hump week, so Northern Midlands have got off to a flyer. They're at the peak at the moment, and they're on the downward. How can you keep them going or accelerate them to greater heights?
Well, the concern is that the guys in Team North and Mids are going to be having sore necks because they're looking behind them constantly, and they can't see them. Their eyesight is gone because we're so far ahead. You can't even see the team behind us. So it's all important. It's all about the facing forward. Keep working really, really hard. Get the miles in, get more people because it's amazing. I mean, the Sign a Friend Friday, we've got a few more Fridays before the end. We're only halfway there. So a few more Fridays before the end. Get people in, get people doing this. It's the best fun. You're part of a bigger thing. You're part of a big team. You're raising money for an amazing charity, and you're helping the big man as well. And he would help you. The big man would help you if you asked him to. So let's get involved. And Team North and Mids all the way.
No, I love it. I tell you, Eve Muirhead was big on that chat as well. There was a lot of fighting talk for Eve Muirhead last week. She was gold. Well, I'm going to see your freshly baked bairn and the South winners, because Hoggy has got to go and iron Jill's whatever. I'm getting to announce the South winners. So Hoggy did choose this. Although let's face it, Jill chose it. So Jill, I think, chose and it's Ailey Hill, who is 10 weeks old and has already hit our 50-mile target being pushed in the buggy. And big sister Amelia, who's 2, has walked most of those miles apart for the uphills where she got in the buggy and got a push. So a bit like the Romans, the hills, I think, are needing a beer. Not Alien Amelia, Jason and Charlie at Genius said, don't give it to the kids. That's for the parents. The parents deserve some genius.
It's only 3%. That's fine.
Don't you? That's naughty.
It'll be fine.
You're worse than Doddie Weir with the stitch up. So the hills, congratulations down there in Jethert. There's no Jethert snails with these guys because they are fast and furious. But good old Jethert doing it Riverside with the Laidlaws and all those good folk doing there at the Abbey. So well done to the hills, well done to the Romans. Now, Dougie, music. You've played to, well, everywhere. You were telling the last time we had a chinwag, you were on about your tour in New Zealand, which seemed to go down very, very well. What's that? Is that like scoring a try at Murrayfield?
I would love to know what it was like to score a try at Murrayfield or score a goal for Scotland, at football or whatever. My goodness, going over to a foreign country and playing. Although the tour of New Zealand was only at the end of 2019, and it feels like such a long time ago now, and we hadn't played New Zealand ever before, so it was extraordinary to suddenly go to a new country and just have the best fun, and it was just lovely. And now we're at the age we're at. Every gig I'd go, I play at. I think, well, this is one gig closer to the last gig we'll ever do, and you kind of think about stuff like that. Me only being 30. Lies. So around waist 38. So I do genuinely think about that. So we were away on tour in Australia and New Zealand at the end of 2019. We were supposed to do a big tour last year in 2020, which of course was postponed. Yep. If we get a chance to do it this year in 2021, we will. And we've been recording new records as well. Because our last record went to number 4 in the album charts, which is bonkers. That was in March last year. Then lockdown happened. So it's amazing to still be able to do it. I have to say, I feel very blessed and lucky that I'm still able to kind of play and present the rugby and meet people like you, Bruce. And that kind of thing.
Stop it! But Deacon Blue are one of those bands. Like I tell you, Maisie and Katie at the table the other day, they were asking me, what's the most well-known Scottish song? Is it 500 Miles? Because I walked past one of the reeds when I went down to the Co-op the other day. Yeah. Is it 500 Miles or is it Dignity? And I said, well, I'll ask Dougie on Thursday night. So what do you reckon's bigger, Dignity or 500 Miles?
That's interesting because there was a big survey just before Christmas on a radio station, and Dignity won that.
I know, it was brilliant.
The second one wasn't 500 Miles. The second one was Sunshine on Leith, and I would have voted for Sunshine on Leith. I think it's a brilliant song. I think Dignity was great too, but I think Sunshine on Leith is such an amazing tune. Fantastic tune, and it works across. Their big Hibs fans, but it doesn't actually matter. It's such a beautiful song that can mean whatever it wants to anybody. So I would have voted for that.
Right. Last music question: where would you love to play? So you're talking about every gig is closer to the last one. Where do you get to sign off and throw them into the crowd?
Well, I know I'd really like to play Hong Kong Sevens. We always got the chance. That's just for the crack. After it, I would love to do that. But Melrose. I think we've been very lucky that we've been able to do lots of big gigs and big tours over the years. I think that being able to just carry on and do that is a pretty cool thing. So in terms of ambition, I don't know. Playing Madison Square Garden, actually people get money to come and see us. But given if we put on a gig in Madison Square Garden, it would be like it is in Murrayfield at the moment when we play rugby. Nobody would be there, so it would be nobody would come because nobody.
The number of Scots in New York, they would go nuts for that.
Madison Square Garden, let me tell you.
Madison Square, that would be pretty cool. But it's Dignity is one of those songs. I was at Hong Kong Sevens in 2013-14, and the Proclaimers played in front of the South Stand, and they played Sunshine on Leith. And I think I was the only person that knew the words. So I was singing along Sunshine on Leith, and then they played 500 Miles, and the place just went nuts. It was gold. But, well, Robbie McRobbie, Robbie McRobbie is the CEO of the Hong Kong Rugby Union. I am going to tell him that Dougie Vipond needs to bring Deacon Blue for a hurrah in front of the South Stand. Right, let's.
I don't want to give too much away, but negotiations were ongoing for a while ago, but they decided to go for younger bands. We were so close to getting across, and they decided to go for, like, I don't know, some young bands.
Right,
like,
no,
in the comments or something like that. I don't know, something young like that.
We need to get, because they had Sebastian Chabal singing, and they've had David Hasselhoff.
You know, the funniest thing about it, the reason I want to go is because every year Andy Nicol is, comes down and does Melrose Sevens with us. But every second year because of the ways it worked out, every second year it seemed to be the same weekend as Melrose. So every second year Andy wasn't in Melrose, and I saw him at Heathrow one Monday morning, and he was just coming back from Hong Kong. What a state he was in! What nick he was in coming off the plane and trying to quietly get on the plane to Edinburgh. I thought, I want to go where you've been, and it was like Hong Kong Sevens. So
there's a lot of Hong Kong stories, but I loved the one when Brian O'Driscoll was there and he was crowd surfing, and his wife saw it and said, "Oh yeah, in Hong Kong working." And then when he came home, there was a picture with the Toblerone. "Oh yeah, this is how he says sorry." Loved that. Absolutely loved that. Gold. Right, Dougie, it's I definitely could chat to you all night long. It is genius, but I'm this lady who backstage I made a little bit of a faux pas because I didn't realise that everybody could hear me. So this lady's going to come on and think, what is this joker up to? But do you know Laura?
I don't know. I know Laura's professional life. I know she does, and she's brilliant at what she does. So we've not met personally, apart from on the screen about half an hour ago.
This is last week was frightening with the quality of guests. The week before was just big daft rugby players and wee daft Davy. This week again we've got Mr. Deacon Blue, and we're about to bring on Laura Winter from Team Exiles, who is just there. She is. Look at that. Hello.
Ridiculous welcome. Hi. Hello. How are we?
We are very well, but Dougie and I are big fans, although not as big fans as Sean, the producer, who won in swearing. But it is brilliant to see you, Laura, and you have been hugely involved in this from the kickoff. Are you getting a huge kick out of it?
Yeah, I've been absolutely loving it. I've got my snood. I've just carefully placed it in shot there, a bit of product placement. Bruce, before we start though, can I tell everyone what the faux pas was? You want to know this? So Bruce comes on and he's like,
right, whoa, we need to set the scene here. Bruce was working right up until we went live. Yeah. So I've been busy.
No, true. True. Okay, so Bruce was working. He was very busy. Obviously, couldn't get away from his desk. It's 7:14. I was told we start at 7:15. I'm always super on time and like really on it. Anyway, Bruce comes in. He's like taking his clothes off, putting things on. God, he is this guy, Jesus. And then he just goes, and I'm absolutely desperate as well. And I'm like, you know I'm here. This is so awkward. Yeah. And what it's going to become Doddie Dump, not Doddie.
Oh, Laura, come on.
I won't be asked back, will I? Sorry.
Well, no, you will. You will. I won't.
No, you're doing a fab job. I don't know how I can follow that. That was brilliant. I was laughing away backstage.
Yeah, I don't get embarrassed often, but yeah, I'm taking I'm already known as #face for radio, and I'm now getting even more pelters. So yeah, well, ladies and gentlemen, my presenting career probably finishes tonight. You thought Dougie Vipond was one gig closer to retirement. It looks like this is it for me. So let's go out with a bag. Laura, Team Exiles.
Yeah. Oh, we need some help, don't we? Goodness me, all that rallying cry from Dougie there. Exiles are in last place. And I'm horribly competitive, so it hurts, it pains me that we are in last place. We're not far behind Edinburgh and Glasgow, but yeah, North and Mids are flying away with it.
Well, talking about flying away, producer Sean's obviously got flustered because Dougie's left and I never got a chance to say cheerio. Dougie, you're
quite a rude sort of, what's it called, a Dutch goodbye, where you just leave without saying anything.
Peace now. I'm going to celebrate. It's all over.
The thing is, you'll be away across the road to Nick Nairn's for your tea.
Well, in normal times I would if I was allowed into his house. Actually, he's always knocking at my door. He's a nightmare. Actually, I have to get the authorities here and say put a restraining order on him. He's a nightmare.
Dougie Vipond, it is always a pleasure. I love when we get together and have a chinwag. And I'll ask. It's not me that does the volume at Murrayfield, right? So it's not my fault. It's not me. I'm just the
mic. When the other guy does it, it's much quieter. I know it's you. I go, that's Bruce. I can hear. It's Bruce.
I get very excited, as you can tell. Dougie Vipond, lovely to see you, sir. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Dougie.
Cheers. All the best. And
thank you.
Excel.
Sean's just cut off.
I'm sorry, I've just seen in the comments. I don't mean to just take over, but I've just seen in the comments that someone's asked if you got. Chris Bradley has said, "Did you get your dump, or is this why you're shuffling?" I can confirm he went straight on air like a true pro.
Chris, I tell you what, right? I was in a shirt before. Listen, my day has been busy, but I'm pleased to be here now. So can we just park that one and move on, please? Because we've got an absolute pro as a guest. Who, Laura, I was on Crazy Mel's website last week, Mel Nichols, who. Oh, isn't she just magnificent?
So much. She's in the comments as well, saying that we're actually second in fundraising. So there you go.
Yeah, good on you. Now,
numbers we make up for in generosity.
Look at that. It must be Sunday because she's Melissa Nichols online.
Oh, Melissa.
Hark at me. I had you down for a Melanie, but obviously not. You're a Melissa. But Melissa is supposed to be training and not online. So get back to your training, Mel, because you messaged me earlier. So behave yourself. Laura, she's bonkers, and but what a role model, and her website is awesome. You are another fantastic role model who strikes me as being a bit bonkers, who also has an awesome website.
Oh, thank you. I designed it myself, actually.
Well, you are the lady who does everything yourself. Check this out. Laura Winter has Vox Women. Yes? Well, I'll tell you what. You tell me what Vox Women is, because there will be people watching who might not know.
Yeah, so back in 2015, it was my first kind of freelance project. I helped a team we started a...
Yeah, you started.
I'm living, and I haven't even had a drink. Anyway, we started a women's cycling specific, dedicated YouTube channel, website, social platform, race coverage. We've got a podcast. We had a shop, all of that stuff. We kind of created this massive hub of women's cycling because it was just this enormous glaring gap in the market where women, the female peloton, were not getting the coverage that they deserve, and they weren't getting the limelight, the recognition. And women's racing is incredible. It's absolutely brilliant. A good cycling race is a good cycling race. It doesn't matter who's on that bike. And so I helped kind of shine a light on the peloton and to tell some stories that were untold. And yeah, I loved it. Absolutely. Really loved doing it and getting involved in it and going out to incredible races like California and, some of the classics in Belgium as well. So it's been a brilliant project to be involved in for sure.
Now, it is brilliant and it is fantastic. And if you are interested in cycling, get involved. But here's the bit that makes me laugh, because you used the word "we" there a few times. You present, you're the reporter, you do the voiceovers, you write the scripts. You're the producer.
No,
so don't give me the "we" nonsense. There's a team.
For sure, yeah, for sure. There's a big team around us all. Don't worry.
You're the big boss lady.
No. There's a bigger boss than me.
There's a bigger boss than you. But you are doing heaps to make that happen. Now you love cycling. Obviously, that passion is coming through. How are you racking up the miles for Doddie?
So my turbo is just out of shot over there. So I've kind of been getting on that because it's been. I know I sound so soft and southern, but it's been pretty bad weather down here. You know, it's been about between 0 and 5 degrees, and I don't go out when it's icy. It's just not worth, it's not worth breaking my collarbone for, basically. So I've been inside on the turbo. I've been getting out when I can. I've been also, of course, like Dougie said as well, and you said lockdowns definitely helped this challenge, because it gives you a kind of focus and a purpose and a motivation every day. Because I know, right, I've got to get my 10,000 steps in, so I'll go for another walk. And I've got to get on my turbo. So actually, it's helping me stay fit, get fitter, like balance out the pandemic drinking and eating with exercise. So
my balance is not quite there yet.
I don't think mine is either. It's the only reason I get on my bike for so long, just so I can eat what I want.
Have you been Zwifting?
I have indeed. I love Zwift, and I've been doing the 50k social rides as well on the Sundays. I know 50k doesn't sound completely social, but I promise you it is. It's kind of a nice steady pace, and I was designated sweeper, so I get to just sort of sit at the back, just sort of like, giving people encouragement. I always say, make sure you're all drinking, and I'm like, but not alcohol. It's 9:45 in the morning, and people are like, might do.
Well, we're on lockdown. We might as well. So Zwifting and Peloton and all those, I decided the other day, my wife has acquired a spin bike, which is now in the house, and I was watching Pitch Perfect. That was my motivation, because everybody loves the Bard and Bellas. So while I was just twiddling away, pretending I was working hard, I was actually just watching my favourite movie, Pitch Perfect.
I think that's absolute fair game on a turbo. You just sit on and you put on a podcast, put on your favourite music, whatever you want. Watch Married at First Sight Australia if you fancy, Bridgerton, whatever you want in lockdown, get it on, and that's a really good way to actually just get the time in and get the time done, because it can be monotonous on a turbo and you're staring at a wall. But actually, when you've got this motivation to say, I want to get X amount of miles in today to make sure that I'm on top of my schedule and hitting my target, then it's all the motivation you need.
All of your talk points towards somebody who wants to win.
I've got my. Do you want to know my mile tally?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah, but
I bet it's more than Jim Hamilton.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't actually compared it. It's 328 miles.
That's impressive.
But I haven't obviously been able to get out on the road so much. So normally on the road I do a few more miles, but it's not bad, is it? I've gone for 500 in the time, so I think I'm over schedule at the moment, which is good. On top of it all.
Well, good, because this
it's great.
This is you now trying to get to the finish. Now, looking at your stats, there are 3,843 members, but the race almost 120 grand.
I know, we are magnificent. Like I said, what we lack in numbers, we make up for in spirit, heart, courage, generosity, you name it.
And obviously, although you might not have the most members, they're obviously loaded.
Absolutely. Someone's just said, if you fancy a run over the Malvern Hills.
Yeah.
I am really bad at running.
Careful. Do you know John Davidson?
No.
Right.
Sorry,
John Davidson is bonkers. John Davidson.
Oh God, okay.
He rode the Atlantic by himself to raise money for the foundation. John decided that it would get him out the house, so he rode the Atlantic single-handedly for the foundation. John was in the SAS, and I did a Q&A with him. And I tell you what, you've got a wonderful website. Try searching on Google for somebody that was in the SAS.
Oh my God.
He didn't exist until he sat in the boat, but luckily we were able to talk about it. So be careful. Well, in fact, don't be careful, because John can do the be careful bit for you. He was in the SAS and he's bonkers. So go for it. Go for a run with John. With
someone who's rode the Atlantic single-handedly and was in the SAS. I've seen SAS Who Dares Wins. I'm not going anywhere near that.
But that's one of the best chats with John, because he'll tell you that the SAS Who Dares Wins is not as tough as it was with the actual SAS. John is legendary. I love it. But he's bonkers. But he is bonkers. If we need to save the world, in fact, John probably has saved the world. We just didn't know it. He is magnificent. Now, what can the Exiles team do to match your competitive spirit and to get you where you want to be, which is at the front of that peloton and not sweeping?
I know, yeah, absolutely, I know. And yeah, let's think about it. It's half time. We've had a terrible first half. We've been nilled first half. So this is now the halftime chat, right? So anyone watching who's not signed up, the thing is, I feel like a lot of Scottish people are watching, and you're all going to join the Scottish clans. So we need to get the English people, the Welsh, the Irish. We've got Craig Doyle, who I think has been recently voted like the best looking man in rugby or something.
He's frighteningly handsome.
I was talking about this with John Barkley on my Instagram this week, actually, how much of a dish Craig Doyle is.
Oh, stop it. He's just outrageous. And when he does the little walk-in selfie talk, he just, like, I fell over watching him walk it. Like, how good is he at walking?
But he's also a really lovely human being and bloody good at what he does as well. So it's...
Yeah, all right, Laura. Enough of that. All right.
No, it's gross. How can someone be that talented? Oh.
Yeah, that talented and good looking. Who knows, Laura? Who knows? Oh, thank you, Jason or Charlie, whoever's doing genius. Bruce was second. Yeah, good lad. Thank you. Do you know what? Behind Craig Doyle, I'll take a second.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I will take a second. So, Laura, you've been a swimmer.
Yeah.
You've been a rower. You're on your bike. You obviously just love being active.
Yeah, I love sport. I think sport has so much power and positive force to do good in the world. And I would just... Especially for women, I've long championed women doing more sport, and there's this enormous activity gap between men and women, and a massive void in men and women's sport as well. And I just would tell anybody, anywhere, just to find something they love, that they enjoy, that makes their body feel good, and do it, because sport is just an incredible force for good, and it transcends borders, barriers. It just is one of the best things in the world for me. I love it. I live for it. I live and breathe it, and I have since I was a kid. Like,
amen, sister. Amen.
You know, like, I just love. There's nothing like it, and I cry whenever I watch a sporting event. Sometimes courtside when I've got a microphone in my hand, really embarrassingly, or courtside, pitchside, whatever. And yeah, I love sport. It moves me so much, and I think it like this shows this activity challenge and all the things that people are doing at home to raise money for such an amazing cause, and for the legend that is Doddie Weir as well, shows you that sport just has this incredible purpose and focus, and gets people the way nothing else can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. How much would I love my life to be voiceovered by Eddie Butler like that?
Oh my God.
Or Michael Johnson, actually, because he's whoa, stop
I
it.
live for a BBC montage. I live for them. They're amazing. I often this is embarrassing. I often YouTube like London 2012 montages and cry.
Yeah, well, I would absolutely. Do you know what I watch a lot? Is Gemma Gibbons, judo player.
Oh, when she went like
Oh, and she married another man crush of mine, Ian Burton, who is another magnificent human being. Gemma, that is just phenomenal. Love that. Laura, you have been inspired by others. And who have you chosen to receive your 12-pack of genius?
So firstly, apologies. I should be, having one myself, but the post failed us. I'm really sorry for that. But there were two contenders for me today, and I got tagged in a photo today. A 6-year-old called Jacob, who is missing his friends. And so he's throwing himself into the challenge, and he's very close to completing 50 miles. But I thought, as we said earlier, he's 6, and we shouldn't really, I encourage drinking enormously wherever and whoever you are, but I shouldn't really publicly encourage a 6-year-old to drink. So I looked down the order of our fundraisers. This is our second highest fundraiser so far for Team Exiles. Obviously, as you said, very generous, loaded supporters for Team Exiles. And it is Team Chile. Dan Chilcott. So it's Marek, Saskia, Leah, and Dan. And their aim was to complete 2,021 kilometres to raise £2,021 to start 2021 positively. And I just love that, because it's been such a rubbish start to the year, and they're kind of going, well, no, you know, sod that, we're going to make a difference. So they've been walking, cycling and rowing, and they have smashed through their target, I think, this week. So they've now raised £2,104.30.
Excellent. And I've seen some of the pictures, and it's brilliant to see them doing it together. So well done, Team Chile. And I did see the pictures of Jacob, and the best bit, you talking about sport having that power. Over those 50 miles, Jacob has spoken to everyone that he has had the chance, that he said hello, and he's tried to engage people. What an absolute inspiration. So well done, Jacob. Brilliant.
Yeah, he's raised something up to £650, I think. Everyone he speaks to, he tries to get more money from. What a little businessman as well. You know, when he's older.
He's a man after Rob Wainwright's heart, because let's face it, Rob is just on it all the time.
Oh, he's that big tour de force, isn't he? I wake up and I'm like, in the nicest way, Rob again. And what is it now? But it's brilliant, because it's just, like you said, you know, over £500,000 has been raised now. We're trying to double that to £1 million. And this is just one of the brilliant ways we can do it. We've got a Zwift ride on Sunday once again. So anyone on Zwift, please sign up. I'll be there somewhere in toward the back, probably. I'm doing Mark Beaumont's 12-hour crazy thing. I'm only doing 3 hours. Well, I'll see how long I last, but definitely 3. I'll see how much.
I reckon competitive Laura will kick in, and you will end up doing more.
12 hours later,
So the one question I haven't asked, and it was the one I was going to ask, why Doddie? What is it you know about Doddie Weir?
So I've never met Doddie Weir, sadly, and just from hearing some of the stories, I'm gutted about that, because he just sounds such a brilliant character. But obviously, I saw his story in 2019 at the Sports Personality of the Year award, and I followed the kind of the BBC look into Rob Burrows as well, and just the devastating effects that motor neuron disease has on, I think, when you have athletes as well. So, you know, really fit physical specimens who suddenly get this illness that they cannot control and they can't do anything with. It's so tragic and so heartbreaking. And as has been discussed, it's also an area which is massively under-researched and underfunded as well. And so I think I was asked by Andy Nicol and Jill Douglas at a European match. European match, Sale. Andy Nicol came up to me and said, you know, would you want to be part of Doddie Aid? We know you do a lot of miles on the bike and we'd love you to get involved. And I just thought, yeah, absolutely, because it's a chance to do something good. It's a chance to do something positive and have some purpose in your life at a time where so much is out of our control in lockdown. And I think the story of Doddie and Rob and this horrible disease really does move me. And I just thought, I'm going to sign up, get involved. I signed up initially as social secretary at a time where we can be anything but social. And I was then sort of rapidly promoted to joint ladies captain, which I'm not sure I'm quite fulfilling. But
are you kidding me on with speeches like you've just made? Are you kidding me on? It's absolutely brilliant. So now next on that we're going to share the screen with, how much of an inspiration is this guy?
Oh my god, insane! I met our next guest at the start line of the Tour de Scotland last August, and he'd probably just done something completely bonkers or was off to do a similarly mental challenge that I couldn't even comprehend. Complete, like, totally inspiring, just incredible stuff.
It's crazy when you get somebody like this, because when you speak to him about the thing he's just done, but he's already speaking about the next ridiculous thing that he's going to do. He's like you, he's a bundle of energy, and I think the brain is ticking all the time with, what unbelievable thing can I do next? So without any further ado, let's bring on the one and the only Mr. Mark Beaumont, who is on his bike as we speak. I
feel lazy now.
Your handovers are world class. I mean, it really is hard to know what to say when you take to the stage. Wouldn't you agree, Laura?
I know, I had no idea what to say.
This actually disappoints me a little bit, because I never thought of you being on a static bike in a nice, comfortable house. I was hoping to sort of dial into you on the top of some ridiculous mountain or in a desert, or.
If I could, I would. And it's funny, isn't it? We're all desperately trying to get our fix of adventure. Oh, here's Harriet wanting to join in.
Hello, Harriet.
Yeah, we're all trying to do what we can, and that's the wonderful thing about Doddie. Everyone getting their fix of miles and adventure. Even Harriet here.
It's lovely to see, Harriet, and look at that big smile.
We tried to get Harriet's just turned 7. We tried to clock up a few miles in lockdown, and our mission was to try and do as many streets in Edinburgh as we could. So we're not allowed to go far, but you can have adventures close to home, and that's been the cool thing over the last couple of weeks. Trying to follow everyone else's adventures on Doddie, and you've done a good job, Bruce and Laura and everyone else, to try and get people to share their stories. And I think that's why there's now 25,000 odd people taking part. Everyone's thinking, oh, I'll have a bit of that. We can't cycle around the world right now, but we can go out and maybe see the familiar in an unfamiliar way.
And are you going to recruit Laura as your sweeper again? Is that a role that you can see?
Laura did a fab job last week on the Sir Chris Hoy ride. So I know we've talked about it a couple of times, but everyone's out there trying to do miles on their own, walking the dog, going for a run, whatever it is. But we're trying to figure out some events during Doddie where we can actually get people together. And of course, the only way we can do that is virtually. So Sir Chris Hoy is doing an amazing job leading these Sunday rides. And then Rob and I were brainstorming how we could do something silly, something really stupid to try and bring everything together at the end of the month. And during the first lockdown last March, April, we ran an event called World in a Day. And the concept, simple-ish. Around the world in 80 days. Jules Verne, Phileas Fogg, we all know the story. Can you actually go around the world in 80 days? The cycle around the world is an 18,000-mile ride, but we don't have 80 days to do it. But if you get enough people, you can get around the world in a day. Dead simple. But one day of the around the world in 80 days is about 240 miles. So the gold standard is a mega double century. It's a mega 240 miles on one of these things. That's a bit too spicy for some people, although you'd be amazed how many nutters there are out there.
Oh, so, there's a lot of them.
So some people are doing a 60, so a quarter of it, or 120, or a 10 miles, whatever they can. But the best part of this event is that all through the day, we run it online on Zoom, just like this. So you get to hear guests chatting away, some of the star guests popping in for a bit of inspiration, and the miles fly by. So we're doing this, if you're wondering what we're talking about, next Saturday, end of the month, Saturday the 30th, all day long from 6 a.m. until 8 p.m. And we're going to be doing exactly this for as long as you want to join us for. And the banter is good, the miles are hard, but that's the whole point, doing something which genuinely tests you. And it would be cool at the end of the month to get an event together where people can clock some miles and get some more rivalry between the districts as well.
Yeah, I think Laura's up for that because she's going to start kicking ass and getting Team Exiles into gear. So Laura, you're joining in this next week. What time are you kicking off? Are you starting at 6 o'clock in the morning?
No, so I think Exiles are going to have a team of 4. I'm going to stitch them up and put it publicly so they have to do it.
All
but
right.
I think we're going to have Mike Tyndall on 6 till 9. I'm doing 9 till 12. I think we've then got Mel doing the next lot of hours. I can't do maths. 12 till 3. Yes, and then Jim Hamilton has said he will do 3 till 6.
Okay, yeah.
So,
Jim will just be out of his bed by then.
Exactly. So we've got a team of 4, and I'll be doing 60 miles.
Excellent.
It's a bizarre concept to get your head around, because most people, if we do have an indoor trainer, will do 45 minutes or an hour. If they really want to do an endurance set, they'll go for a crazy 2 hours. So yeah, 12 hours. But you know what? When you make it out, what we call the virtual peloton, when you've got 200-300 people riding along with you, and then you've got these star guests dropping in to tell their stories, it works. It's amazing. We ran this 5 times last year, and it was an amazing way to give people a bit of suffering, which can be a good thing sometimes during lockdown. And the really cool mechanism as well is if people can convert every mile they do to a pound. You know, if you're doing a 240 miler between that team of 4, puts another 240,000 in the pot. We're striving towards that £1 million mark at the moment. That's the dream. That's the big dream for finding a cure for MND.
That's the good stuff. Laura, we're going to let you disappear. And thank you very much. It has been magnificent.
Thank you for having me.
And hopefully by the next time I see you, you'll have forgotten about that faux pas backstage earlier.
I'll never, ever forget that. I love it. It was the best introduction to a person I've had for a long time.
Yeah, there will be
I
others.
hope you go at some point.
Thank you, Laura. Brilliant to see you.
Thank you for having me, guys. Take care.
Team Exiles. Mark, one of the best bits about you saying that is you and Rob Wainwright were trying to think of something crazy to do. There are two people on this planet who, if they're going to come up with something crazy, when I pick up my phone and I can see Rob Wainwright's name, I'm just thinking, oh no, what on earth is this going to be? But the two of you together, that is a dream team.
Well, the one of the first rides that happened in aid of raising money for Doddie's foundation was when we rode the match ball from Murrayfield to Twickenham. What was that? 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
So it was a simple concept for the Calcutta Cup, and of course this is meant to finish in the Calcutta Cup as well. Could we go 500 miles? I would ride 500 miles with the match ball, which was literally tied onto the back of Rob's bike behind the saddle down the road. But it's not quite 500 miles from Murrayfield to Twickenham. So I said, that's fine, that's no problem at all. Because I happened to have a gig that night. It's a Thursday night, I think. So we met the Scotland Rugby squad at the airport. They gave us the match ball. And then I said, right, I've actually got a gig up in Stirling. So we'll go via Stirling to make it 500 miles. But we did feel pretty daft when we were going north across the Forth Road Bridge. And, London's that way. And then we had sort of straight through Thursday night, straight through Friday night, and arrived just in time for kickoff. But it was that legendary match, if you remember, where we had the big comeback. So good one.
I just love how engaged you are and how really there's no challenge too small. You've been around the world on your own.
Yeah, a couple of times. No, it's good fun. I mean, I was trying my best to avoid a job, and I'm 38 and nobody's noticed yet. So.
And what's your relationship to Doddie Weir? Why are you all in?
Well, we've mentioned him a few times, and he deserves all the credit. Rob introduced me to Doddie probably back in 2017, soon after the diagnosis, and we've met a number of times at games, and I've supported some of these fundraisers over the years, which have grown in participants, grown in fundraising clout, and got some very fond memories of catching up with the big man. I mean, I remember even from that first ride, we were driving home the next day, and Rob said, we'll just drop into the farm on our way back through the borders and get a quick social media thank you for everyone that sponsored. And the big man Doddie met us at the door with fresh roast out of the oven and a bottle of whiskey. And he said, come on in, you're not going anywhere. And I mean, that's just, that's who he is. It's just, he's got such a welcome. I remember at a match, was it last year, when a lad came up to him, probably the age of my daughter, 7, 8 years old, and wanted his autograph. And somebody sort of said, oh, no, he won't be able to do an autograph. And Doddie said, no, I'm going to do that. And he got a pen, and he held it as best he could. And he made such an effort for this little lad. And it was just wonderful to see that sort of selflessness and character of the man. And other people were trying to step in and say, no, leave him alone. And he was just always wanting to look after people. And I think anyone that's met him would say the same.
Yeah, he's a determined big bugger, and we love him to bits. And the foundation is just doing so well for the betterment of other people, and guys like you being involved are just absolutely magnificent. Mark, have you got a rallying call for Team Edinburgh?
Well, Team Edinburgh have got some pretty good bike riders and big mile hunters in the pack, but we're not winning. I don't know what it is. We need to get the consistent miles in. You don't need to go for a mega mile. I think it's just doing a little bit every day. So pep talk to the team. Davey's cracking the whip as team captain. Ailey Barber's doing an amazing job as well. Yeah. We've got Sir Chris Hoy, for goodness sake. Mind you, he's not much good for endurance, is he? But we've got an amazing amount of people involved. I'm loving all the social media updates in and around Edinburgh. And of course, the cool thing is you don't have to be in the district to be a part of the district. But everyone's doing well. But second half of the month, keep going, everyone.
That's it. And you've got a winner for some genius as well.
Absolutely. Okay, so before I give you away the actual winner, our top fundraisers so far. So big shout out for Neve Armitage, Tony McCarty, Gary Naismith, and Jacob Hibbert. There is some phenomenal efforts on the fundraising, but I do need to give special mention to those four because they're knocking it out of the park on the fundraising. So everyone out there, go out. Still time to get people to sign up. The person who gets my sort of genius pack of beer this week is Katrina Matthews for some amazing miles, but also a brilliant picture of a snowman with a Doddie scarf on. I love that.
Yeah, that was a touch of class. Well done, Katrina. Absolutely brilliant. Mark, we're going to let you disappear and rack up some more miles. It has been absolutely brilliant to talk to you, and I look forward to the next bonkers installment in the life of Mark Beaumont. I've read all the books. I've seen all the documentaries. I look forward to the next one. And if you need an ill-prepared host for anything, I'm absolutely up for it.
You're world class at winging it, Bruce. World class. And in summary, final call to action, get to worldinaday.com, okay? So you don't need to do the full crazy 12, 14 hours. Worldinaday.com, get registered, sign up a friend. Next Saturday the 30th, we've got an amazing lineup of people who are going to be chatting away, keeping you going for the big mile. So next Saturday the 30th, worldinaday.com.
Brilliant. Thank you, Mark. All the best. Great to see you. Look forward to seeing you again soon.
Good man.
Cheers, fella. Now, we have had magnificent guests, Dougie Vipond, Laura Winter, and Mark Beaumont. And now, I hope he's made it, because talking about me, he was struggling with the IT, but we never thought that was going to be his strength. How do you introduce this man? He's got an MBE. He's got 61 caps for Scotland 90. He played for Scotland at football in a World Cup, go figure, and a European Championship. And what a screamer he scored against Switzerland. The one and the only Super Ali McCoist. Welcome to our Thursday night nonsense. Please tell me that he is there. Have we got Ali McCoist? Is he there and ready and waiting? Come on, Super Ali. Now, Ali was having a wee bit of bother with the IT. Now, who knows what's going on? But what we need is for the build-up. We need to make sure that Ali knows that we are waiting. Scottish Sport Hall of Fame, Scottish Football Hall of Fame, 260 goals for somebody, and Kilmarnock, I can't remember who the other team was. He's been a movie star. Robert Duvall had him in the movie. Now, I heard a story that we might ask him about, because I think he had to wear a Celtic top, but he wore a Rangers top underneath, so the Celtic top didn't touch his skin. He was the voice for FIFA football. He was the pundit for FIFA football. Just what a boy. But I think he played for a team in Glasgow. I can't remember who it was, but I loved him as team captain on Question of Sport. So, and I reckon we need to get him to get Sue Barker involved. We're missing a Sue Barker. It's bad enough that Ailey Barber has already seen off Hazel Irvine, but surely Ali's able to get Sue Barker. Ali, are you there? Please tell me, Coisty. Otherwise, these folk are going to have to listen to me for even longer. And thank you to Kate Farmer, who's saying, super winging it for Super Ali. You're no joking, because the WhatsApp's going bonkers about, he's there? No, he's not. He's there? No, he's not. Where do we reckon he's gone? What's the odds on where he is? Dougie's back! Dougie!
I just thought, you're really struggling there. And I know what it's like when you're in a live situation and your guest doesn't turn up. I thought, I'm dialing back in there, because I could see your wee face kind of getting nice and red, and I could see you underneath the table there. Your feet were pedaling away.
I've got notes galore on him. I had so much to talk to him about, because when he signed for Rangers, he phoned his granny from a payphone to tell her that he'd signed for Rangers. Mm. That's the rock and roll lifestyle of a footballer in the 80s. Meeting at a petrol station or a service station to sign for Rangers. Although, who knows what life would have looked like if he hadn't signed for Rangers. He wouldn't be on here, that's for sure.
Certainly true. I mean, I don't know, because I saw him earlier on in the green room, if that's what it's called. I don't know what it's called in this sort of online world, but he was there in the green room. It was all checked. It was working fine. So I don't know. We've got nothing to talk about because we spoke earlier on. But I can tell you again about how great North and Mids are if you want.
I've got heaps to talk to you about. I could talk to Dougie Vipond for a long time. What are your three boys doing? Because they played rugby. Yeah.
Well, the oldest one, he stopped playing at high school level. The middle one went to Australia and played for a year and then came back. And he's going to think he's decided that physically that he was basically the wee Scottish boy out there in Australia, and all the Australian boys are going, "Oh, you played for Scotland school, did you?" We'll just give you a hard time. So I think physically he might have. They might kill me for saying that. So he came back and he's. He came back and then of course he's been locked out. There's Ali there.
Oh no! Go away! Go away! Go away!
Okay, Ali, I was filling time there. I had nothing left to say.
Dougie, I was listening to you, mate. Honest to God, I can tell you've been talking about Hong Kong, you've been talking about Proclaimers, you've been talking about New Zealand. I've been listening to everything, mate, but I've got to be brutally honest with you. Liverpool-Burnley was a better option, to be honest with you.
Right, what's the score?
It's nothing each at this moment in time.
I've been
on since 7 o'clock, Dougie, and I need to tell you, Dignity or 500 miles, it's Dignity all day for me. But I need to tell you, mate,
I've always loved you, Alan.
I was on a Zoom call 2 weeks ago with the Proclaimers and I said it was 500 miles. That's the kind of guy you're dealing with, Dougie.
Well, I certainly know that.
How are you guys?
It is very good to see you. And you've even put your specs on.
I have. I need them now, sadly, but I've got to. It's not an option anymore. When I'm looking at anything in the vicinity of 4 to 6 feet, the Gregories have got to go on, I'm afraid.
The Gregories have got to go on. What about Dougie Vipond? Not only does he fly in for Carol Hogg, but he flies in for Ali McCoist as well. What a man. One of like greatest.
Bruce, he's unbelievable. And I was hearing him. I know he's a big St Mirren fan. And he was talking about getting in to see Tony Fitzpatrick, getting the St Mirren guys involved. And I reckon the way things are going, if Dougie speaks to Tony nicely, I think he might get a game. And I know you knocked us out the League Cup. Okay, I'm setting myself up.
Yes, I believe we did. Yes,
I believe we did. Go on the buddies. Thank you, Dougie. You're an absolute star.
Great to see you, mate.
Nice to see you too. All the best, both of you. Cheery, bye.
Cheers, Dougie.
Jason, get that man another creative genius. Ali McCoist, how the devil are you?
I'm magic. I'm great. I'm in good form, but not as good as you. I've been listening to Dougie a lot. Everybody's in top form. Things are going swimmingly well, aren't they? They're going really well.
They are indeed. And how are you doing any miles, or are you just telling other folk to do miles?
Believe it or not, I'm doing miles. I'm out walking. I call it Kenny Logan syndrome. I've done my back in, believe it or not, right? I have. It's in our house. It's called Kenny Logan syndrome. So I've done my back, but I can still walk. But I nearly said good news. I don't know if it's good news or not. It's a lot better. So this weekend, I'm planning to get back on the stationary bike and try and get some miles in as well. So, but we've been doing some, you know what it's like, been doing some nice walks as well, which getting out, getting a bit of fresh air and sticking a few miles on board as well. So it's been quite good. I've enjoyed it.
I can imagine you being an absolute nightmare in lockdown.
Oh, yes. Yeah. The kids are saying to me, Dad, is it not time for another Doddie Aid walk for you? Oh, honestly, leave us alone. Right? Leave us alone.
Encouraging you to get out the house.
I actually got a text from the producers of Call of Duty threatening to take me to court because I'm pestering my boys when they're playing Call of Duty just to annoy them. Honestly, lockdown it's a nightmare, isn't it?
Oh,
it really is.
Aye, it's really no fun, but I can imagine you with all your energy being an absolute shocker to live with.
It's horrendous. It really is. And I've got to say, but you're not wrong. You're not wrong. My entire family have my sympathies. They really do.
So why are you see when the teams were released, right? You know the rugby community is coming together for Doddie Weir and for the My Name's Doddie Foundation. You know there are people associated with the game of rugby or with Doddie Weir, and then the Glasgow team gets announced. And there's Super Ali McCoist. My girls were asking me. I've got two girls. Katie's 9 and Maisie's 11, and they're absolutely off their heads. Unfortunately, because their old man's a hippie and their granddad's a season ticket holder at Easter Road, they know misery. They know misery quite well. But we were talking about who I was interviewing tonight, and I said I'm interviewing one of the most famous Scottish footballers ever. And my wife Nicola said,
how did you manage to get Kenny Dalglish?
She claimed that you were it, and I was like, and they were saying, what? I said, it's Super Ali McCoist. I said, but he plays for Rangers. And Maisie said, Daddy, are they not the arch rivals? I said, well, we've got quite a few of them, but nobody really thinks we're their arch rivals. So when we were talking about Ali McCoist, and then it was, why is Ali McCoist? What's your association with Doddie or the foundation or the game of rugby?
Oh, I mean, I've got an association with all three, to tell you the truth. I really have. I mean, I go back. Rugby. I'll tell you, my first rugby, I was at Murrayfield, and now you'll probably tell me it was either 71 or 72 when Andy Irvine scored a penalty from the touchline. My dad took me first ever rugby game, and it wasn't a bad one. And we beat England with the last kick of the ball at Murrayfield, and I would have been maybe 9 or 10. But obviously I came from a footballing background. My dad played football, but we've got a very sporty family. So that's how far back I go with rugby. And then obviously when I was playing, I was great pals with JJ and all that crew. And I was at the Grand Slam game when Tony Stanger touched down and all that. Brilliant, just fantastic memories and nights out with all the rugby boys. And I remember, I mean, my two managers, Walter and Graham, used to look at the Rugby International card, and they came up to me and say, "You won that game?" And I would go, "Maybe," and they'd look at me and they say, "Well, just to let you know, not only will we be breathalyzing you on Monday morning, we'll be weighing you as well." So my sorties out with the Scottish rugby lads are kind of legendary. And Doddie clearly comes into that character with a great chat the other day on one of the Zoom calls, and we were obviously talking about Doddie and the kind of guy he is, and I was just explaining, Doddie's one of these guys that there's few people in life when you mention their name, everybody smiles.
Yeah,
for whatever reason it may be, everybody will have their own reason for smiling. But Doddie's one of these guys. He's just an absolute gentleman, but at the same time, wicked sense of humour, and would leave you hanging as soon as look at you, So, and obviously with the question of sport days as well, all the rugby guys. So some fantastic memories, and clearly, it's the most horrendous of illnesses, and sadly, we've lost a couple of footballers recently to it as well. David Hagan and Fernando, clearly. So, and then you looked at the documentary. Obviously, it's getting publicising correctly so and rightly so with Doddie. But obviously, it's been, as I say, we've been doing little bits and pieces and talk sport and things like that. Rob Burrows, obviously, rugby league player as well. And I think they did the programme. I think it was on the BBC. Yeah. Which I tell you, it was. I mean, I defy anybody to watch that program and not have a tear in their eye. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's an illness that probably it's one of the most. You see people and you see victims, and it's just horrendous, absolutely horrendous. But you got to say, what these guys have mentioned as well. They've handled it, with amazing strength and dignity, and we are doing a little bit. And it is a little bit because it's great fun, having a crack with you guys and going out having a walk or a cycle or whatever it may be, a run, and it's great fun. So I'm enjoying the camaraderie of it all, Bruce.
It's absolutely brilliant. I love the bit about being at the first game, Scotland against England, when Hibs won what was the Skull Cup. When I was a boy, and I was there at Hampden with my dad, and my dad kind of looked at me and went, "It's not always like this." that thing of getting glory early and then being told it's not always like this, because I was at the 1990 Grand Slam game as a wee primary six, and I can remember somebody saying to me, "We'll not win it again for a long time, so enjoy it, son."
I know. I remember. I'll tell you what I remember at that particular game. It was magic. I was there with my best mate in Oxford. We grew up together at primary school, and we managed to wangle tickets into the game, and we're surrounded by this rugby club from Oxford. And of course, when we got our first points on the board, one of them standing next to me pulled out this hip flask, right? And because Scotland get points, he throws this hip flask at me and says, "On you go, Jock." And as he takes the top off it, there was fucking smoke coming out it, and it looked like something in a pot in a witch's cauldron. Do you know what I mean? And I took this gulp out it, and from then on, I can still see the four Tony Stangers going over for that try. It was magnificent.
It should have been worth a lot more than the 4 points that we got for it. Genius. And how did the Rangers Football Club deal with Fernando Rickson and David Hagan, obviously being former players?
Absolutely. They handled it very, very well, I've got to say. But the dignity and the class that both families showed as well, because it's just horrific. Absolutely horrific. Fernando and David, I remember, I can remember David Bruce walking into the dressing room as a wee boy, He was a young kid to come into the dressing room, and I can still see his wee face walking into the dressing room, and just amazing. It's just tragic. It's absolutely tragic. But I think, as sad as it is, and it is sad, it's tragic, it's maybe given everybody a realisation that we'll have to do something. In fact, not just something, we'll have to do everything that we possibly can to if not eradicate this horrible illness, certainly do our best to put help, to put aid to it in terms of finance and research and things like that. So listen, we're all well behind it, and as I say, if we can have a laugh about it and try and raise a few quid at the same time, magic.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's it's stark, isn't it? Because it doesn't discriminate those. We're talking about professional athletes here who are absolutely at the top of their game, and it needs support, and there's breakthroughs coming, and hopefully things like Doddie are going to help, because we're raising a stack of money now. What's the banter like in Team Glasgow?
Team Glasgow. Well, it was a bit. I don't know if you saw it. There was a bit of dissent in the camp. There was a bit of dissent in the camp. I noticed the manager myself. I was getting a bit of stick, Bruce. I was getting a bit of stick. I mean, Kenny Logan was giving me a bit of stick, and then Gerard Butler was giving me a bit of stick from Hollywood or wherever he was, filming the Flintstones or whatever it is he does over there. I mean, these guys don't know I've got broad shoulders, right? So there was a bit of internal, there was internal problems within the camp, but I think I've ironed it out. Bruce. So we are
going on all your experience in managing the changing room.
Yeah, I've been through it all, Bruce. I've seen it all. These guys might be having a bite at me, but I can handle it, mate. Don't worry about that. I can handle it. I'm ready for anything that the Glasgow team throw at me.
I've got absolutely no doubt that you are ready for it, because you're full of energy, Coisty, and there was a generation of folk who would have known you just on Question of Sport, maybe didn't know you as a footballer, and now you're an absolutely cracking. I think you're not a pundit, you're a co-commentator. I've loved listening to you being a co-commentator, because when you get that chuckle on, it's just gold. It's just absolutely
it's the
brilliant.
Next best thing, Bruce. It's the next best thing. Planes by far and away the best, but actually being at the game and been fortunate enough to commentate on it and talk about it is magic. I'm very, very lucky, I've got to say.
And what's the chances of you getting Sue Barker involved? Come on, that's the question everybody wants me to ask.
Do you know something?
Sue Barker involved?
I think we could get Sue. We've got Sue involved in plenty before, so I think Doddie might be the most appropriate thing. We can get Sue in. Sue, as you can imagine, is fantastic. And Doddie, as you know, was on Question of Sport and whisper it, don't tell MD. I mean, Doddie. I mean, oh dear me, he was never splitting the atom on Question of Sport. I actually had to ask Sue to give Doddie a point for getting his name right at the start of the show. Do you know what I mean?
I can remember Doddie, because I'm from down the road for Doddie. Doddie was Cortle Ferry, and I grew up in a wee village called Stow. And I remember them getting Vietnamese pot-bellied pigs at Cortle Ferry Farm. And Doddie was the mystery guest, but the opening shot was the farm, and then it was the Vietnamese pot-bellied pig. And me and my two brothers, both off the couch, all three of us going off the couch going, "It's Doddie Weir!" before he was even on the screen, because we knew what was going on. But you can't do things like that anymore. Like, what happened next? The laughs that you used to get and Question Sport when I was a kid. Question of Sport, the whole family sat and watched it. It helped that there was only 4 TV channels, right enough, but everybody sat and watched Question of Sport, and you got Stephen Hendry and Ali McCoist and Billy, and it was just gold, absolute gold.
It was hilarious, man. I remember Sam Torrance was brilliant. Sam was on it. Sam was great fun. I mean, Sam would be your first pick at any party. Just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And the mystery guest come on, right? And I wait to tell you, right? Come on, and Sam nudged me. He said, I've got this covered, Coisty. I've got this covered, right? And I went, we've not even seen anything yet, right? And if I remember correctly, it ended up, it was Darren Clark or somebody in some hotel room, right? And he says to me, it's Darren Clark. I said, how do you know? He said, because I was in the next room when it was on the phone. I said, that'll do for me.
Brilliant. Absolutely class. You had some brilliant, and as we're seeing now, you obviously just love life. You love having a laugh. Question of Sport just looked like you were having the time of your life.
Oh, it's got to be. I mean, come on. I mean, we all love a sport, and I'm getting the opportunity to meet my heroes, you know, and whatever field it may be, you know. I mean, they were all on it. McEnroe, Ballesteros, you know, I mean, Kenny Logan, you know, they were all on it. But it was amazing. I mean, some of the guys, you would think, the beauty of it was you get an opportunity to meet sporting superstars that you would never get a chance to meet. You know, you'd never get a chance to meet. And some of the guys, George Foreman, for example, I met Marvin Hagler, Tony McCoy, you know, just guys like that, and brilliant. Rebecca Adlington, there was a million of them, you know.
It must have been funny though when you get somebody like that and you, right, what number would you like? Number 8, and it turns over a Scottish Premier football player. And I would turn to them and say, "You're on your own." But don't you get kidded on by Sue. Sue could handle it all right. There's a bit of mischief in that lady. I can tell you that. All the wee grannies and granddads up the country used to say to me, "Oh, that's Sue this and that's Sue that. Don't you go easy on Sue. You're a bit naughty with Sue. Don't worry about." Many's the occasion she was playing keepy up with me. I'll tell you right now, she can handle it all right. She's been over course and distance, that girl, I'll tell you. She was more than a match for me. And Tuffers, you obviously got on brilliantly with Tuffers.
Brilliant. All the guys were magic, you know. I was lucky enough, my first captain was John Parrott, and John was magic. Scouser, brilliant sense of humour. And then wee Frankie Dettori, Frankie was wonderful. And obviously Tuffers and Matt Dawson as well. Great boys, really great boys. And what we used to do, right at the start, the first couple of series I think we did with David Coleman. And David, I don't want to let too many secrets out of the bag here, but David quite liked a glass of red. And it doesn't make you a bad person. So after the first couple of recordings, I thought, I can have a glass of red with David, you know. So we used to film 3 in the one day. So we go down on a Sunday to Manchester, and we always did a big Sunday lunch. And everybody would come along, the guests and their families, and we'd have Sunday lunch, a few glasses of wine, go and film 1, back into the green room, a few glasses of wine, go and film number 2, back in, a few glasses of red wine, back out and film number 3. And all my mates up in East Kilbride on a Friday night, they used to have a bet. When it came on a Friday night, they used to have a bet. They'd look at my eyes and guess whether it was the first recording, the second recording, or the third recording.
and you know, question sport must have been a tough thing to walk away from, but football management and how different is that? Putting
I know
on
what you're thinking. What a blunder I made there, didn't I?
No, not at all.
No,
but that must be one of those jobs. You know, there was people talking about Frank Lampard getting the Chelsea job. He couldn't say no because it might never come again. To get the chance to be manager of your club that you supported and you played for, and then to get to be the gaffer must have just been too good to be true.
It was. Yes, it was. It was the best way I describe it was the absolute dream job at the absolute nightmare time. It's as simple as that. And I look back, and you know something, I don't have any regrets other than what happened to the club at that particular time. In many ways, you know, in a probably masochistic way, I'm quite pleased it was me, you know, because I kind of knew the club and I knew how much it meant to so many people. So it was absolutely worth every treacherous 24 hours. So, and I must admit, and I hope you'll let me indulge at this moment in time, I'm really pleased to see the success, although there has been no success in terms of trophies for Rangers yet, but I'm really pleased to see the success in terms of the performances and the victories that they're getting at this moment in time on the field. So I do take great enjoyment in that, and I hope I'm allowed to do that.
You must be able to go into any bar. Well, that's not true because Glasgow there's a bit of a divide. But you must be able to go into many a bar and never have to put your hand in your pocket.
There's a lot of boys reckon I'm quite good at it. No,
short arms and deep pockets.
I'm really lucky, Bruce, because like there's a lot of Celtic boys. Frank McAvenny, for example. Frank's magic. Absolutely magic, Frank is. And he's one of these guys, doesn't matter who you are, what company you're in, you can sit and listen to Frank all day, and you know, there's not a side to him at all. And both sides of the old firm know that. And I think that's effectively what it's all about. You know, it really is. And I genuinely believe it's miles better than it once was. I would hate to lose the rivalry because the rivalry is fantastic, but I genuinely think, you know, the feeling between the supporters it's not perfect. I don't think it ever will be, but I genuinely believe it's miles better than it once was. And we used to, back in the day, same as the rugby boys. I mean, Saturday night, whether it's McAvenny, Charlie Nicholas, Mo Johnston, we'd always share a beer. We'd always have a beer on a Saturday night, and that's as important as anything.
And you must have a story or two to tell about that. Now, I said at the beginning, you've played for Scotland in a World Cup and a European Championship. What did you do with that penalty shootout? How did you react with that penalty shootout?
I'm going to tell you a story you won't believe, right? This is magic. I watched that penalty shootout at Wembley, right? Because I was working YTV. I know you're well entitled to give me that look, but I was working YTV. And England were playing at Wembley at the time. So I was doing the Scotland game, watching it from Wembley. And Ian Dowie was doing the Northern Ireland, I think it was Slovakia game. So he's sitting watching one game and I'm sitting watching the other. And up a set of stairs was Ian Wright, Lee Dixon and Robbie Keane watching the England game, right? So I think England were playing the Republic, I think it was. I can't remember. You won't kill me for that. But anyway, that game's going on and we're watching the other games. Of course, both our games go to penalties. And by this time, the English boys, Lee Dixon, Ian Wright, and Robbie Keane are down. Beg your pardon, Roy Keane, not Robbie. I beg your pardon. It was Roy. So they come down, and we're all watching our penalty shootout together. And I'm telling you, there was no filming of it for obvious reasons, right? For COVID reasons. But let me assure you that everybody enjoyed our penalty success that night. And I'm including Roy Keane, and I'm especially including Ian Wright, Lee Dixon, and Ian Dougie. So it was as bizarre a moment. It was a fantastic moment.
Oh, it's so good, and for that generation of players, because there's been some bloody good Scotland players who haven't been able to play on that big stage. And
Bruce, that's what I was more pleased about than anything, because I look at, there was a brilliant generation of players never played. You know, Scott Brown, Barry Ferguson, Dan Ferguson. You know, brilliant, excellent players that would, in normal circumstances, would have played. And I was as delighted as I was for the supporters and everybody in the country, and I was actually more pleased for the players.
Yeah,
that they've now got an opportunity to go and enjoy and experience what we experienced. And
the Scotland women had that chance, and it was brilliant. And having them as the focal point, and the standard was top drawer, wasn't it? Do you enjoy that World Cup?
And then, if ever you doubted that the women were a Scottish team, you know, they finished the tournament in true Scottish style. It was just glorious failure. How many times have we done that? And my heart went out to the girls. It really did. You could feel the pain, but no, it's magic. And I'm just so pleased that the likes of John McGinn, you know, and Ryan Jack and McGregor and Christie and boys like that will get an opportunity. It's just brilliant.
Yeah, it's gold. And that goal he scored against Switzerland, what a screamer that was.
Hit it all right. Gary McAllister, my roommate, just laid it on perfectly. And I'll tell you another brilliant wee story. One of the guys in the same BB as me was behind the goal. He couldn't make it up. Honest to God, brilliant. I'm doing the warm up before the game, right? And all I can hear is, "Hey, Coisty. And I'm looking at the Tartan Army, and I see wee Buke, right? Ian Buchan, a boy Fiscal bride I used to go to school with, and he's sitting there going, "All right." I went, "How are you getting on, Buke?" He says, "Never mind how I'm getting on. Just get the business done out there, okay?" So,
you know, if there's a professional footballer sitting here in 15 years' time that can tell a story about a boy from the same BB being in the stand, I will give Years Foundation £1 million.
Brilliant it was. For Fiscal bride, honest to God. He was murder at the drill. He was good at the PE, Buke, but he was murder at the drill.
He was murder at the drill. I love the BB. That is gold. I do love that. So, Coisty, Team Glasgow, you've got somebody that's going to win some genius, I think. Have you been prepped for this?
I have. And her name is Angela Martini, who, I have to inform you, she's been doing brilliant running and cycling. And she wasn't picked because of the name, by the way, just to let you know, right? It's to do more with her achievements. Although the name it did attract me to her in a certain type of way. But sadly, she's been gathering in members, and she's been doing some great work. She took a tumble last night. But she's okay. She's fitting well, and I think she's going to do a bit on the stationary bike. So for her achievements, she is definitely getting high praise indeed from the Glasgow manager.
Awesome. Well done, Angela. And how good is that it's Ali McCoist that announces that you're getting your genius? There's a YouTube clip to share around your pals. That is an absolute stoter. Coisty, listen, unfortunately, I could be here till I don't know what time, because I absolutely love it.
So Burnley go 3 up.
But we wrap up. So I think what I'm going to ask you to do, we're talking about this being hump week. So people have made a great start. How do we keep them motivated for this final run into the 6th of February? So what's your rallying call?
The rallying call is quite simple. Everybody has got to get together and do as many miles as possible. This has been fantastic for everybody. You know, we're doing it for a great cause, Bruce. We all know that, and we all know the cause that we're doing it for, the MND research. But at the same time, how much fun has it been? You know, we're raising as much money as we possibly can, but we're doing it in a way that everyone can enjoy themselves, keep fit, get a bit of exercise. It doesn't matter you're walking a mile or you're doing that Mark Beaumont thing. What about him, by the way? Hey.
Right, I tell you what, I am that.
What about him?
What, by the way, that is Ali McCoist. What about Mark? What about him? By the way, that is genius. I know, but what about him? But the thing is, that'll not even be the most ridiculous thing he does in the next 10 years.
No, I know, absolutely. I must have. I knew what he was up to, but I can't lie to you. I had a wee Google at him today. Right.
I had a wee Google at him.
Oh, aye. There's something no right up there.
He's mad as a box of frogs.
Him did he go cycling in Alaska? Aye. And didn't he take a fishing rod? I've been to Alaska, right? But I've been fishing for the salmon. And I never saw a bike. You know what I mean?
Oh, I tell you, Coisty, see this guy on the screen, Adam Roxburgh. Adam Roxburgh played for Scotland. He was an immense rugby player. He's for Kelso, hard as nails. But
you'll know Big JJ then if he's for Kelso. You'll know Big JJ, my big farmer, Big John.
Oh, I knows JJ. Well, Roxy played in the back row. He played kind of same position as JJ. Roxy was class. Played for Scotland. What a sevens player. An absolute Rolls Royce. What a boy Adam Roxburgh is. That's the kind of quality we've got in the chat.
I know you're trying to cut me off, but I need to leave you with one story. I heard Dougie Vipond, right? Dougie Vipond saying that Deacon Blue wanted to play Hong Kong. And you were like, I wrote down his name. Wait a minute, what's his name? You told him. Robbie McRobbie. Robbie says to Dougie, we're going for a younger option. And then all of a sudden, David Hasselhoff's playing. What's that all about? That's the biggest custard pie I've seen in a long time.
There's actually quite a big story to what happened to David Hasselhoff as well, because he ended up in hospital because I think he got his medication the wrong way around the pit of that road.
By the way, you needed medication to watch that Baywatch, to be fair, didn't you?
I don't know what medication you needed, Coisty.
Very good, not bad, Bruce.
No, man. Ali McCoist, an absolute joy. Thank you, sir. Brilliant to see you. Keep up the
good work, everybody.
You're a top man. Ali McCoist.
Guys.
What an absolute star. Well worth the wait. Well worth Dougie Vipond jumping in. I hope you've had a great night. I have. I could be here forever. These people are great people. They're inspirational. But do you know what? They're inspirational because they're backed by all you guys who are in watching, who are out there walking, who are rowing, who are taking the dug, who are cycling, who are snowboarding, who are doing all those great things. Why are we doing it? We're doing it for the My Name is Doddie Foundation in the name of the great man Doddie Weir. We love him. We absolutely love him. You've heard from the horse's mouths tonight about how he makes other people feel. And that's what I hope we're all doing as a collective, because we're coming together in the only way that we can for a cause, for a common purpose, and hopefully it's making us feel better. Get yourself out and about, grab somebody, tell them that it's time for them to get out and about as well. Phone somebody up, buy them a snood, send them a present, do something nice to make people smile, and you'll get it back in spades. I promise you that. I've had such a joyful night. This is my third one. It's been a stinker of a day. It's been a stinker of a day, and what a way to finish. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for your brilliant comments and your engagement, because it wouldn't be much fun doing it without you guys listening. So thank you. Hopefully we'll be back next Thursday if we're allowed to. Ali McCoist, what a guest. Mark Beaumont, mad as a box of frogs. How amazing is Laura Winter? What a inspirational person. And Dougie Vipond with a heart of gold, and he's the guy for Deacon Blue. He's played Dignity all over the world. What a legend. Thank you to the guys at Genius for their sponsorship and continued support. 5p from every can goes to the foundation, as you know. Thank you to all of you for your tweets and your Instagram posts and your Facebook shares and rallying the troops to get behind this. I'm probably going to have to go for a lie down, but I don't think I'm going to get to sleep, because I am absolutely high as a kite, all in the name of Doddie Weir and the My Name is Doddie Foundation. Thank you very much, and good night.